Hey everybody, it's old Zeke again, and I've been asked to tell you about the Battle of Bunker Hill. I was there. I was there. Battle of Bunker Hill. Actually, it was on Breed's Hill, but we're going to go through it just a little bit to find out what exactly happened there. Them British, yeah, they was all up in Boston, and they wanted to put some men up there on a place called Dorchester Heights. They didn't get up there. No, because let's go back to the beginning. This was in April of 1775. 1775. And that's when that Battle of Lexington and Concord first took place in April 1775. Well, come around June, just a few months later, our commanders, they said it's time for us to move on to Boston. We could take them Brits. I don't know if we could take the whole army, the British army. That was an awful lot of men. But I'll tell you what we did do. We were told to go up on a place called Bunker Hill. Bunker Hill, all right? It was by Charlestown. It was the other peninsula by Boston. So I was with Colonel Prescott. And Colonel Prescott, well, I don't know if he got his orders wrong or if he decided what he was going to do, but we started building breastworks up on Breed's Hill. Breed's Hill was a little bit closer to Boston. These two hills were really situated in a funny place, but it was dark out. It was real dark. So let me go back to the beginning, kind of tell you what was going on. Within 2 months, we had almost 15,000 troops. 15,000 troops from places in Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Rhode Island. We were ready to do something. We needed to do something after that Battle of Lexington and Concord. Now, we won that. Yes, we did. We chased them Brits all the way back to Boston. But now we've got 15,000. And they had roughly about 5,000 redcoats there in Boston. I think that we outnumbered them quite a bit, don't you? Well, they were stationed there under General Thomas Gage, is what I understand. And Gage was a pretty good soldier himself. Yes, he was. Even though he had enough artillery and ammunition that he could drive us off those hills, he didn't. He tried to, but he didn't. Because we had General Artemus Ward, that was commander in chief of all of our Massachusetts troops. You understand? And he served as a senior New England officer. So we're really under General Ward. But there's two things about Dorchester Heights and Bunker Hill. Dorchester Heights was a little bit closer to Boston. The Redcoats wanted to fortify those heights. You know, here's the thing about having the high ground. Whoever has the high ground usually wins because you can see everything and you can hopefully escape if needed. First of all, you're going to kill an awful lot of men coming up that hill. Well, instead of fortifying Dorchester Heights, on the evening of June 16th now, about 800 Massachusetts and 200 Connecticut men under commander of Colonel William Prescott. That's where I was with him. Yes, I was. I know him from Tennessee area, but I was up there fighting with them boys. Yes, I was. And we were going to carry out this project of building ourselves some fortifications on Bunker Hill. Like I said, Colonel Prescott, I think he got a little mixed up because we were building fortifications on Breed's Hill, which was closer to Boston. Maybe that's what he thought. But it was also easier for the Brits to get up on that hill. Well, at least they thought so, for a while anyway. But that's not how it was going to happen. He had us digging in, and we built a 6 foot high wall of dirt and rocks and trees, whatever we needed to hide behind. Now, it was on June 17th in the morning. And you could see them ships down there in the harbor. And you know what? They seen us too. Oh, yes, they did. They didn't know that we had been digging all night long. We've been digging all night long. And they seen us, so they turned them 20-gun ships on us, and they started pounding away at Breed's Hill. Scared some of the boys. Some of the boys run away. I didn't. I stayed steady. I stayed steady up there. And what you know, we had another couple hundred boys come join us anyway. So altogether, we had almost 1,600 of us patriots up on top of that hill. Now we built a long reduct, long wall, and it stretched all the way across the side of that hill and a little bit down on that hill, probably about 100 yards or so. So it was pretty good size. Now, building this breastworks is what you call it. These breastworks, it ran northward down the slope of the hill towards what they call the Mystic River. If you know where that's at, probably don't. Well, anyway, on learning that we had that hill, General Gage sent over a detachment of about 2,300 lobster backs. Yes, he did. More troops under General William Howe. General William Howe was in charge of Boston at that time. He's a son of a gun. Yes, he is. And he got a brother out there, another Admiral Howe, with the ships. Now, they would start to want to attack us. And so what he did, Howe's advance, what he did was he sent men up that hill. And listen now, them boys had full packs on. They had on full packs. That was dumb. That was real dumb of them. Now, I'll tell you what we did do. We didn't fire right away. No, we didn't. We didn't fire right away. We waited because we were limited on ammunition, you see. We were limited on that ammunition. So we put a stick out there amongst the high grass at about 100 feet. At about 100 feet. And any lobster back crossed that stick within 100 feet, then we laid it into them. We laid it into them because here's what our colonel says. Prescott, he says, now, boys, you know we're low on ammunition, so don't go fire until you see the whites of their eyes. That's about 100 feet. That's what it is. 50 to 100 feet. Make sure every shot counts, he says. And it did. Some of them boys that came up afterwards were sharpshooters. They were good shots. They were good shots. I did okay. I did fine. Every shot that I shot out rang true. One of them lobster backs went down every time I shot. Yes, they did. Now, I know I'm getting a little excited, but this was a real important battle here. You know, we're going up against British regulars. It's just us. We're going up against British regulars. Now, I know I've been in the French and Indian War, but it's a little bit different. This is at home here. This is right here. Anyway, what them lobsterbacks did was they come up the front of that hill and they also tried to come around the side to rout us. Oh no, they ain't gonna rout us. No, they ain't, because we got men over on that side. We cut them down. And so the first men that came up that hill, they got pushed back down the hill. Yes, they did. And they told that general down there, hey, we ain't gonna be able to do this. He said, you get back up that hill. That's what I heard him say. You get back up that hill. So the next hour, they come back up again. Guess what? Now they got to step over their brothers that have been shot on the ground, and it's a lot harder to get up. And we shot them down again within that stick of 100 yards. We shot them down again. Twice now. Guess what? They went back down that hill. They went back down. Now, they were exhausted. We were exhausted. Worst of all, after the second time, we were running out of ammunition. We were running out of ammunition. I tell you, some of the boys were throwing rocks, and they were trying to roll logs down on top of them, and some even thought they could put some rocks in the barrel. But they had to be smooth rocks, or else they're not going to work, boys. What we did was, we gave as much ammunition to those that were going to stay, and there was a decision to go back down the backside of that hill. I stayed. I stayed there. The boys gave me ammunition. And they gave me what they had. When that third wave came up, well, them lobsterbacks, they broke through. Yes, they did. They broke through. Now, all that cannonade that they'd been firing at us from the harbor out there made some pretty deep holes, but they never did quite get to the top of that hill because the cannons couldn't reach that high. But these lobsterbacks now, they got up there. They come over top of that, and they had them bayonets, and they come at us. It was hand-to-hand combat, I'm telling you. It was tough. And I seen the whites of their eyes. They were right on me. Well, we took as many as we could, and then I got out of there. Some of the boys didn't make it. Some of us did. We went back down that hill. General Joseph Warner was killed. If you remember him, he gave that signal for Paul Revere and William Dawes. I heard he was a doctor for John Adams. He got killed. We took his body. We took it with us. So here's what happened next. We had to decide how we're going to get back down that hill. Good thing the lobsterbacks hadn't come around the side this time because they didn't see us. Some of them boys that were up there and stayed up there, some of our black brothers. I'm going to read some of them names to you because some people don't believe there was black brothers there. But there was, because they were fighting for the same thing we were, and that was freedom. We had people like Caesar Bacon and Cuff Whitmore, Peter Salem, and Salem Poor. That Peter Salem, I'm telling you, he came face to face with Colonel Picard, who was on that march in Lexington, and he shot him dead. He shot him dead on that hill. Them boys are brave. The boys were heroes up there because they stayed with us to the very end. Now, we finally got the final count of all the wounded, missing, casualties. We had about 450 of us that had been killed, about 271. The rest, wounded, some were captured. I'm lucky I made it down that hill, and I made it out so I could talk to you here today. Number of British killed or wounded, though, 1,054, 89 officers. 89 officers. If the numbers don't lie, I believe that we won. And they said we lost because we left the field. Well, we ran out of ammunition. We were using our bare hands, whatever we could get a hold of, the butts of our guns. But here's the best part. It was a moral victory. A moral victory. Now, we might not have won as far as taking any more prisoners. We did kill more of them, about half their crew, compared to what we had. But here's why it was a moral victory. Because people just like me, just like you, we stood up to British regulars, fighting men, ones that were trained. We hadn't really been trained. Some of us knew how to use that gun. Some of us knew how to fight. Most of them boys up there, they'd never hurt nobody in their whole life. And there they were. Now they're heroes. Some of them are dead for it. That battle, well, I'm going to tell you what. I heard there was a couple quotes afterwards. General Howe said, "This is not a revolution." He said, "This is a war." He was right. He was right. I heard that printer, Benjamin Franklin, wrote to a friend of his. He said, we once were friends, now we're enemies. We made enemies that day. You got to fight for freedom. You got to. It wouldn't be more than a year later, General Washington would have 50 cannons up on Dorchester Heights. Yes, he did. Guess what? General Knox brought him up there, and they brought him all the way from Fort Ticonderoga, where they brought him from, with Benedict Arnold. And once General Howe saw them cannons up on Dorchester Heights, boy, that shook him up. Old General Washington sent a message down there and told him, he says, you better just leave, or else we're going to make waste of this place. Didn't really want to. Old General Howe, he did leave, and he took 1,500 loyalists with him. But that's another story. Sure is. You know, you got to fight for freedom. You can't stand by and let it be taken from you. You see this flag? Still got the Union Jack in the corner, but I don't feel for long. I don't think we want to be part of Britain no more, because we're becoming a new nation, a nation of Americans. And we have our right, and we have our right to life, liberty, and that ownership of property. Nobody's going to take it away from us, no matter what. We got to. I'll fight again. I'll fight for my freedoms and for liberties. Will you? Well, I know this was a little bit more serious today, but a lot of friends die on that hill. And there's more to come. What happened after those days? But I'm going to tell you one thing, that after that day, we all knew the revolution was on. Sure was. Now, as important as this is, what I like to tell you every time, would you do me a favor and tell somebody that you love them today? It's never too late. It's never too late. You don't know what's going to happen. Be kind to somebody. You got to be kind. And if you love them, tell them that you love them. Don't waste the time. Do it today for me, would you? I'll be back. Oh, yes, there's plenty more stories where that come from. You know that. So this is old Zeke, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.